Welcome to Midnight Girl Talk, the show that should be recorded at midnight but isn't. I'm Puppy Girl,
I'm Midnight Rain.
And I'm Purple Moon.
and today we're going to be talking about staying safe during sexy times. Um,
Spicy time.
in different ways, you know?
Yeah, there's different
Not
thoughts
the
to it.
way you're
Like,
thinking about it, probably. I
it's
don't
not all
know.
just wear a condom, damn it. There's all
However,
kinds of different stuff.
wear a
Yeah.
Yeah.
condom. Okay.
Oh, I guess we covered it, right? It's we in
All
the episode
right.
now, right?
That's it. All right, boys. Wrap it up.
Okay, so we're talking about safety as in relationships, of course, during sex, and then just trying to make sure everybody's safe when they're trying to find that relationship that they're looking for as well.
Yep.
So,
Um,
We're going to be starting off with talking about different relationship styles. So, whether that's monogamy or polyamory. Um,
mhm.
bec- because it makes a difference, damn it. There are
Yes,
different things you have to consider.
very
yeah, a
much
little
so.
bit. Yeah, there's a little bit of a.
I mean, monogamy, you just there's not as much risk, right?
Yeah, it's one on one.
Mhm.
You are into one person, you
Well, it should be one
dedicate
on
your
one.
life to one
It
person.
should be, yes, or at least that's the idea. I mean, mono, but
Whoa. You mono, don't go near me.
oh
Oh dear
gosh,
God.
I'm kidding.
But polyamory is defined by multiple relationships at one time.
consensual,
Yeah, you have to be open, you have
ethically
to
and
be
consensual.
okay with what's going on, and we are firm believers that everybody that is involved knows about everybody because that just it makes things easier, less dramatic, less drama.
Honestly.
Yeah,
And I think
honest.
it's interesting because, like, personally, I feel like, um, the types of like drama and things that come up in monogamous relationships versus polyamorous relationships, are different. I feel like whenever I hear from like monogamous people and they're like, wow, that must be a lot of like drama. It,
In
there
respect to poly,
yeah, it must be a lot. Like, oh, you have more than one partner. Oh, that must just be, a lot. And it
yeah,
is, obviously. You're dealing with more than one person. But or talking about like jealousy. Oh, you must get jealous. And it's like, I don't really personally I don't really feel jealous. But it's like I feel like even in monogamous relationships there can be really weird, depending on how people engage with it, there can be really weird, um, like jealousy over just like friends that you're hanging out with sometimes. You know?
yeah, there
Yeah.
can be that. I mean, and even in polyamory, there can still be some jealousy. It just all
Oh yeah.
depends on how you deal with it.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so
Um.
just as a reflection on this, monogamy is the practice or state of being married to one person at a time, or a sexual relationship with only one person. Polyamory is the practice of engaging multiple romantic relationships with the consent of all people involved. Those are the definitions of both of those. So just in case
Yeah.
you're like really wanting to zone into that.
And the reason why we kind of say there, like in this spot, that there's differences again is, in monogamy, you in general you have one person that you're with, so you can kind of understand. Oh yeah, well, you and I both know we don't have any issues, or like as far as like sexual STDs type things, or and then oh, we found our one person. I'm safe with that person. I can trust that person.
Yeah.
Like as far as like not being murdered or something like that. Normally, there still happens. You still get the those women that kind of go nuts and kill their husbands, or the men that go nuts and kill their wives. Whatever, it happens. But in polyamory, there are some differences there, because it's not just you know the safety you have to keep up with the one partner you have. You have to keep up with everybody's health, and all the your partners have to think about the safety of their partners. So it's like that, and then
Yeah.
also finding.
Sometimes
I'm sorry, go
I
ahead.
so personally, I my as far as like partners and partners, my scope is pretty limited. Um, like it's pretty contained.
Yeah.
I think it's wild when you get into like people that have partners and their partners have partners.
Yeah, so like
Um,
one of my partners has like five different partners.
yeah,
So
I don't understand how you, or I kind of understand how you could do that, but there's just not enough days in the week.
we work it out, but we can get into that. But the other thing is the safety of finding partners, like online dating type stuff. There, like being safe while you're doing that. Like the world is so crazy with it. You know, like you never know what person you're going to meet. It's not like 30 years ago when you could knock on somebody's door and ask if you could borrow the phone. You do that now, you might get shot. So so yeah. Um, do we want to kind of move into that now?
Um,
Anybody have any other thoughts on the differences in monogamy and polyamory? Or
I mean, we covered it all. I'm pretty much like, as long as everybody has the consent and knowledge of what's going on, I think you're pretty safe and you're pretty good, like as long as you know what's going on. Monogamy, I'm not saying if you see somebody that you kind of like and you have a small crush on somebody else, that's not polyamory. That's just you looking around and trying to see what else is out there. That's human. That's human nature. That's just how we are. um, Polyamory is actually taking the act on to another relationship. So just keep that in mind. Just because you see somebody else does not mean anything in particular. Just don't act on it without the acknowledgement of what's going on with other people.
all right,
Other than
Yeah.
okay, all right. So
Um,
being safe. What have y'all ever had any dates or anything that you've gone on where it was kind of sketchy? A little
oh
worried about meeting somebody for the first time?
yeah. Oh my, I, um, yeah, I do not remember that much about this date. Um, oh, yeah, middle of nowhere, right? This is me. I've like just graduated high school. It's the middle of COVID. And I go on this date with this guy, and we're like driving around in the middle of nowhere. Like I'm driving. He took an Uber all the way out to like the middle of nowhere just to meet up with me. Um, and he, I don't know, he just said some kind of like off color stuff. I think this guy might have just been fucking racist. Not sure. And it was really, it was really weird. And it's like I was at the most comfortable and we're in the middle of nowhere. And yeah, I'm the one driving. So I knew that like probably I'm gonna be fine. Like this is just some like awkward guy um who's I guess racist. um and um yeah, but it was just like and he'd like try to like do stuff with me like through my pants like while I'm driving. It's like I didn't super reciprocate. It's super awkward. um God, I think uh I think if I remember right, I could be remembering wrong. I think you said the N word while we played Minecraft. Um,
yeah, that's not good.
that's not good. Um, yeah, and I don't know. I was also down horrendous at this point. Um, but I wasn't that down horrendous that I was gonna continue to go out with this guy who said the N word while we played Minecraft.
Okay. So, it's like things like that, I mean, you never know who you're going to meet, right?
Yeah, and I don't
And
even think at the time that I had done the basic. I'm sorry, I'm going into what I think you're gonna talk about, but I don't even think I had done the basic things where I was like, "Hey, friend, this is where I'm going to be. You know, if I text you this, then you need to call someone."
that
You
that
know,
yes, that
I
is
don't think
kind
I
of where
shared
I'm
my
going.
location with anyone either.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
yeah,
so there are a
that
lot of steps that could have been taken to make me
so you
feel
learned,
a
right?
lot safer. Yeah, I don't even think I learned after
Uh,
that. I
oh
had
gosh,
another friend
girl.
recommend that I do some basic safety stuff on like later on dates. Um, but yeah, yeah,
So I mean that's a big topic that just I would say most women either already experience or do know or understand. Like, dating, it's being safe. Like, you never know who you're gonna meet, whether it's a situation like you had or meeting somebody for the first time and all of a sudden you're abducted or something like that. Like, we try to make sure we're safe by doing things like having code words. Like between Purple and I, we have a setup that if she goes out with somebody new or I go out with somebody new, we have a planned check-in, like a text. And if the person that's out on the date doesn't respond to our text in the exact way that we state that's in our code, something's wrong. We're going to immediately call. We're going to check the location, stuff like that. We're gonna, red flags go off. We know that when this question is asked of me, I need to respond exactly this way, because that person that I'm with or somebody else is not gonna know that response to be given. Um, so it's just one of those little things that we do to make sure that we know it's the right person answering and they're safe. We also, do the
and that
location
there's not
sharing
like a
thing.
gun being held to their head.
Yes, exactly. Because say if I were to, if I were to say something like, "Hey, are you okay?" and they just say, and Purple to text back, "Yeah, I'm good." How do I know that that's not a person that's either holding her under duress or somebody else has picked up her phone and just said, "Oh yeah, all good here." Like,
Yeah. So like
like,
having things that you do in like specific ways or having like code words where it's like, are you okay? And you send like
banana or something.
yes. Or you can send a text in a way that like sounds like things are good, but if you have certain like signifiers in it, um like maybe if you go, oh okay, like normally whenever I'm like texting, I use the smiley face like :D. It's like, oh, okay, maybe if I use that, it actually means that things are bad. But for the most part, as long as they're not like looking over at your phone or whatever, you can just say that it's not okay. Um, for me, I had a system with a friend where I would, text her where I'm gonna be, um, and uh I text her where I'm gonna be, and then like after a certain amount of time, well, if anything's going wrong, it's like okay, I can send like 3 emojis, and that means that things are not okay. And I thought that that was interesting. She told me about that one. Um,
That's a good one.
Maybe getting a call after a certain amount of time, like they call you and you go, um, and you answer, and you can pretend like it's an emergency, or something like that. Setting up stuff like that is important, but like sharing your location with people is probably a good idea. Um, yeah,
Yeah. Um, like, yeah, I mean, having somebody in the know, a friend, whether it's a friend like with Purple and I mean, yeah, we're married. we share our locations with each other all the time, and we respect each other's privacy to not look at it unless we need to know for some reason. But we also like we share, what the plans are as far as like, hey, I'm going to go meet this person at this coffee shop. It's the first time I've met them, so this is where I plan to be. If something goes wrong, that's where you start your look. Um,
Yeah.
plan check-ins like you said. Um,
Oh,
We do share our um, what do you call it?
our
Our
locations, yeah.
locations.
Yeah, we can
So
look at each other anytime.
if I have my watch on and I have my AirPods and my phone, so she could track all of that. And if it's one of them is not where they're supposed to be, then that would be something that would ping her in her head. But most of it is, hey, I made it, and then our secret way of saying I'm fine. Um, I'm not saying what that is because shit happens.
Yeah, you don't want to put that online.
But
especially, yeah,
it
especially
it
something
does
like
help.
this. Um,
Yeah, it does help though.
oh, and then also, obviously, there are these ways of communicating to other people. Hey, things are okay, things aren't okay. But
Yes.
also, you should probably be setting yourself up for success beforehand. So, I don't super no, I've not been the best about this, but it's like, okay, or I guess I always do like it. Like if you're meeting somebody new, you should probably meet them in a more public place, at a Starbucks, something like that. Don't necessarily meet up at one of y'all's houses to begin with. As for whether or not you do stuff at your own place or at their place is what you feel more comfortable with. Um, Whenever I used to sleep around, I would do stuff at my place because I felt more comfortable there. Because it's like I don't know what this person has at their place. But then also other people are like, well, if you do stuff at your place, then the other person knows where you live. And if they're going to stalk you, they can stalk you.
So,
So it's
all
really
things to
a
consider.
trade off between the two of them. Um,
Well,
yeah.
that and if it's the beginning when you're first meeting them and you're trying to figure things out to see if that's even like reasonable to even try to do things. Um, Always a public place,
Oh
coffee
yeah,
shop.
always.
You can always go have lunch or breakfast. It doesn't have to be dinner. It doesn't have to be expensive either. Um, and that's
Yeah.
kind of what we did, like what I did with my recent relationship. We agreed that we would meet up for dinner or late lunch, and if things went well, then we could possibly go see a movie. And we just were testing the waters. When we met, everything was awesome. We enjoyed each other's company. And I remember him looking at me going, are you comfortable enough to go see a movie? And I just remember going, yeah, I actually am. Because he's like, if you're not, I get it. We can stop now. We can try again later. It's like, no, I'm pretty happy with what's going on. And
Honestly, somebody
it's been great.
explicitly checking in like that, that's like hardcore a reassurance to me that like, oh, okay, this person is not being creepy or anything, And
Yeah.
I appreciate that. It's nice to see somebody be like, are you actually comfortable? And the
Are you
nice
actually
thing
interested enough to keep going?
yeah. And the nice thing
Because, I
about
mean,
something like going to a coffee shop or something like that is that it's a lot less committal of like a
yeah.
option. Cuz
Yeah, if
like
you do that, then you
there's
can have
not
your
just
coffee and then
creepy
go, all right,
people,
done.
but there's just like I don't feel like I want to continue this and either of y'all could think that for like any reason. It's like it's nice to at least have the option and not feel like a little bit more pressured into continuing the date than you would have otherwise.
Well, I had one guy who kept at me for a long time, and I wasn't completely comfortable with him, but I knew I was supposed to go on a date with him like later on that week or the weekend. and we decided we were going to go hang out with some friends on a Thursday. And he was coming through the area, and I looked over at Jen and I was like, he wants to meet me. I'm not comfortable completely yet. Would it be okay um, if he stopped here so we can at least meet each other? So glad we did it. I wasn't interested. I was safe with my wife and my friends, and even all they looked at me and went, "Yeah, he can keep walking." And I was grateful for that. And it's
Yeah.
so it's okay to meet up with other friends at the same time too. Mhm.
Yeah.
Make it a
Just
group.
like anything that kind of can take some of that pressure off that initial meeting in either direction. Um like just in case whoever it's like I don't want to put someone in a situation where I'm like pushing too hard or something cuz that can be a lot and it's like okay,
You
yeah.
never.
Me, I would
No, it
never.
can get
I'm not
uncomfortable.
loud and I'm not a lot. Um but also um I met one of my current girlfriends after after she had gone out with my other girlfriend. I met her at my other girlfriend's place. So I guess, but I guess I already knew at that point. Like we had already vetted that she was chill. So, I'm glad for that. But yeah.
So yeah, a lot of things that you can do to keep yourself safe when dating, basically. But hope hope this helps people and keeps everybody going.
Yeah.
All
Um
right.
all right, let's move on to
Our next topic.
our next
So this is a question for that I get a lot of different answers to depending on who you ask. What is considered sex to you? Like some people say you have to go all the way, and some of them it could be just the you know second base could be sex. I mean, what do y'all consider it?
um yeah, I don't know. Personally, for me, normally I mean I would consider probably it really depends the context, but personally I feel like if I were like um I don't know, if things are going in holes, you know, I feel
Okay.
like
Penetration.
Okay, that's fair.
yeah, to some extent. Like, if you're doing like oral or, anal or vaginal, it's like, oh, okay. But like
Okay.
I might consider but it's like a gradient, honestly. It really depends what we're talking about. Um
Okay, that's fair.
yeah.
Because I mean, I've talked to people like if you're just doing like say sexting, that could be a no-no. Like I mean,
Oh
in
yeah.
relationships, if flirting and sexting could be a no-no. Erotic conversation, like if you just talk somebody through, getting off or something, some people consider that sex.
Well, I wouldn't so yeah, whenever we talk about this, it's like, oh, okay. I feel like it's a gradient as well, and I feel like you really need to talk with your partner about it. Um, hardcore. Because if it's like, oh, okay, what's considered like cheating to some extent? It's like, oh, I definitely think if you're sexting with somebody and you haven't like talked with your partner about it, like depending what it is, it may not be like cheating, but it's definitely it could potentially be crossing a boundary in that same kind of vein. But I don't know, like I wouldn't call that sex. I don't know.
Yeah.
I and I don't know if I'd fully call that cheating, but it's basically the same thing.
It would depend on the current relationship that you are in if you're in one.
Mhm.
Because if you're not in one, then you're just playing and you're trying to have fun and figure yourself out, go for it. I am not I'm not the one to judge, that is for sure. But if you're in an actual relationship, you need to have those discussions of what is cheating, what is comfortable for everybody, and go from there. I mean, if somebody says sexting is not a big deal, you could be just randomly talking to a friend to get them through a bad day, and that just happens where it goes.
Mhm.
And it's only one time. No big deal uh, for some relationships. But then there's others where, no, you haven't told me about this said person, so it's bad. So it just depends on what's going on at that point in time.
Well, I mean, and it doesn't have to just be, because we're kind of basically talking about poly stuff, but like in a monogamous relationship, your wife, husband, partner, whatever that person is in a monogamous, they might not care if you flirt with the coworker or something like that. They might not care if you know, send, inappropriate pictures or jokes or stuff between you and somebody else or whatever. But you also have those partners that do care about that stuff. So yeah, before you
I
can
would
kind of
say
get
most monogamous people would definitely care.
oh, I
Like
mean
Totally.
almost no matter what it is. Like, flirting, whatever, whatever. If you haven't talked with your partner about it, I mean, I this had come up
yeah,
at
it's
some
I'm not
point, and like people's opinions on it is really weird because it's like it feels like a lot of the nuance kind of goes out the window. Um,
well, I'm just saying that
but
to certain people it is the level that needs to have attention is different.
mhm.
Whether you're poly or monogamous, it's to each person is a little bit different. So like you know, when they expect a conversation to happen, it depends on who that person is.
Yeah. Um, yeah, I don't know. It's an interesting thing to talk and think about. Um, yeah, I don't know. I do my best to be clear, or at least like, oh, okay. I'm gonna tell you about whatever I do before I do it, or like, oh, okay, you can just do whatever. Um, try to be explicit in that. Um, yeah, I feel like my mic is getting quieter. I'm just losing
I
my
can hear
mind.
you just fine.
Um, yeah, I don't know. Um, interesting to think about.
So that
Um,
I mean that kind of leads us into the next topic though, like having the those
The
that,
conversation.
that the conversations you need to have. Like, if it's okay, I'll just kind of kind of go over what like the talks I've had with different partners, because I have several partners and they have other several partners and stuff like that. So there's it's a big thing for us. Are y'all cool with that? With me kind of
yeah, go for it.
okay.
Go.
So like for us, like there is definitely some expectations set, but in my relationships, with especially with my partners that have multiple partners, we are very open and honest about things. But like the kind of the rule is like if before you have unprotected sex with anybody, there needs to be a conversation had between everybody and needs to be testing done and stuff like that. Uh, Amongst the rest of the polycule there, but also like if it's not unprotected, say like it's just you know playing around is one thing, but if there's any type of penetration or something, it's expected that all the other partners are told soon after, like say in the next 2 or 3 days. Like say for instance, if I were to get a new partner right now and we have a spicy time moment, um,
Yeah.
tomorrow I would probably be giving that partner a call and saying, "Hey, just want to let you know I have a new partner. We had a time together, and I'm going to be going and getting tested soon." Um,
I my suggestion would be that we all knew about the new partner before spicy time happened.
yes, but
Just as a
yes,
put
but
in.
the point being like getting tested regularly. First off, we the kind of the rule, at least within the group that I'm a part of, like, is once every 6 months at least, and anytime you get a new partner. So
Okay,
just
that
keep
makes
everybody
sense.
safe.
Yeah, I need to update mine. I haven't in a long time. Um, but also I don't have as many. I don't have as many partners, or at least like partners. It's not
Yeah,
as much of a worry.
I have quite a few metas, put it that way.
Yes, those people. I have.
But like, the biggest thing with it though is you have to feel comfortable with your partners, and being open and honest about what you're doing and stuff like that in order to be safe. Like, I don't want to go with to one partner and do something with them and then bring something back to my other partners and they have no idea about it. So we are very open and honest about everything with each other, and I would encourage everybody else to be that way as well. Um, like all my partners know of all my other partners, so it's
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, there's no shame in telling it. If we're I mean, we're poly, we all understand it, so it's a good thing.
Hmm.
Um, the one other thing I want to say though is like there's a thing that at least in the relationships that I have, we term it as called fluid bonding, basically like unprotected sex. Like anytime there is like that type of thing, I mentioned it earlier, but we generally don't do that unless you've been with that person for a very long time. You're kind of committed, um, and you've kind of basically talked it over with the rest of the polycule. It's kind of like, hey, um, I know I'm I don't have a partner named Joe, but I'm gonna use that name. I've known Joe
Thank
for a
you.
long time, um, and we're kind of thinking about doing some stuff, you know, fluid bonding, or basically unprotected sex there, and I know they're clean and stuff like that, but I just wanted to let you know before it happens. And the rest
I've
of the
never heard the term fluid bonding, and that sounds. I like it. I like the term. It sounds good.
It sounds dirty on top of it.
But I mean, it does, but it doesn't. But like basically, that's any time like there is basically penetration, well, pretty much vaginally. Like, I mean,
Oh, okay. I
it
I thought you just meant like
generally,
unprotected in general.
I mean, yes, you can say that now. Oh, for us, like in our polycule, there's anal sex. We don't do anything without a condom just because we want to not have the bacteria and stuff like that can be in there and go from person to person though without. I mean, yeah, you can wash and all that stuff there, but there's just some cleanliness things there that you know
Hmm.
at least within our group we don't mess with. Um,
That's
so that's
fair.
fine. Yeah, which to each their own, but
However,
just yeah, that's fine. That's y'all's thing. Uh, but uh, but yeah, and kind of the rule of thumb is like if it's gonna happen, everybody gets tested, or at least the people that are going to be doing the bonding get tested, um, and make sure everybody's safe because it's not just you, it's everybody.
I will
yeah.
say if it happened in the heat of the moment, um, as long as you know that the both of you are clean, afterwards you do need to tell your partners and just
Yes.
say, "Hey, it was in the heat of the moment. I'm sorry, but this happened." Um, and your partner should already know that y'all are clean, and you can just say, "Hey, let's just not happen again." Or if this is going to be a thing, we need to make this like a comfortable thing for everybody. And it would be like the other partners from there need to know as well, probably
Hmm.
at some point.
So yeah, yeah. All right. Um, so kind of wanna. Are we good there, guys? Do you feel like we've sufficiently covered it?
Dear God, I hope so.
Yeah, we've covered everything on that
That
conversation.
conversation. Okay.
Next,
So kind of.
consent and boundaries. Woo!
Yeah, kind of a different safe sex type of topic, right?
Me
Yeah.
when me when safe sex.
You want safe sex? Yeah, I think we all want
Oh
it.
I think we
well,
all
wait.
want that.
So people like so consent and
Oh,
boundaries is our next thing there, right? Like um that's there is certain limits people can have, you
hmm
know, and you can
yeah,
push those boundaries if you have consent. I'll say it that way. Um,
I mean, also when you're dating and you have multiple partners, boundaries do change, but it needs to be stated.
yeah.
mhm.
So I think that trying to be as open with communication as you can is important for stating your boundaries. Um,
Yes.
that's very easy to say. That's very, very, very difficult.
Well, I mean, me in particular, I have very set boundaries on certain things. Like there's certain things that I refuse to do just because of my comfort, um, that I know I'm not going to like. So
Yeah,
I do state those from the very beginning of the person that I'm about to go those things with.
So like you're talking about like boundaries and stuff like that. In the heat of the moment, like I'm open to a lot of things, but with me and my partners, like we generally ask before we do things. Like even in the middle of a spicy time moment, there, we'll generally ask, hey, is it okay if I grab you? Is it okay if I, you know, go down on you? Is it okay if I fondle you? Yeah, I mean, we'll be a little more descriptive than that. Um, but we kind of state what we're wanting, but ask, and you have to get permission before you do it.
Yeah,
yeah,
especially in new relationships. But the more comfortable you are with each other, yes, you still need to ask, but you can do it where it's not as uncomfortable because
yeah.
it
You
can be a little
can,
awkward.
yeah, especially after the more of the starting stages of a relationship. Hopefully, you lay the groundwork, and um, they kind of know where things are. Um, have a safe word, please.
Yes, yes.
I personally use the light system, and I use it a lot. Um, um, so that means, obviously you can say green, I guess. I don't think I've ever heard somebody say green.
A
You
green
can.
to me would mean go.
Yeah.
So I would be careful
I
with
guess
that
if
color.
someone's
Harder, please.
hesitating, yeah, if someone's like hesitating, like, and they look unsure, I guess you could say green. That would make sense and that would be helpful.
Yeah,
Um, Yellow
I
means
know.
slow down or
You're
stop
getting
doing that
close.
very specific thing. Um, and then red means like you're done.
Yep, stop.
Please stop. Yeah,
No
now.
more. No, I mean, yeah,
Yeah,
that's the end of
and
that.
that one is not. Personally, that one's not as common. Um, I say yellow a lot, but that's something that I've realized after the last time that we had a podcast, as I've kind of explored stuff. Um,
I mean, I know a lot of people that are in relationships that use the color system just because that's pretty universal wherever you are. But
And
Some
it's
people
so
like the
easy to
word
explain.
pineapple, but I
Pineapple,
don't I
pineapple.
can't think of pineapple in the middle of the moment enough to be a safe word. I'm sorry, red stop is very quick to
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
Just my own
You can
personal.
also just have the word stop be your safe word if you aren't
Yes.
doing um
I've had to
stuff
do
like
that.
CNC. Um I guess where like, oh okay. Yeah. But also I personally just like using the color system cuz it's like I don't want to I guess I might use stop if I'm like
Well, the magic
way
thing about
over
the
the
color
limit. But
system,
like the nice thing about the color system is it gives you a little bit of a gradient. So you could be like,
yeah,
I can't
have
handle that
multiple
for much
areas.
longer. Like we need to take that down.
Yeah. And just the ability to go, okay, I do really like that. Let's keep going. Or, yeah, you can stop or slow down. Can we do a different position? Yeah. It, there's just more, I don't even know the word that I'm thinking for. More ability to change it up a little bit, I guess. And it is a way of consenting.
Yeah.
So, and then at the end of it, like, trust is a major issue in anything you do in the spicy time in the bedroom, whatever. They're
Oh
like,
yeah.
if you can work up a relationship where you trust the person you're with, you know, number one, you're able to do more things without having to ask as much. But also on the flip side, don't get in the bedroom with somebody you don't trust. If you can't trust them to
Respect a safe
respect your
word.
yes,
Yeah.
then don't get in the bedroom with them. That's I've heard too many stories of people like, oh, but they're hot and I wanted to. It's like, but you know, they pushed me too far or whatever. It's like, well,
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
Know your
done.
limits. Know
And
when you're
especially and
uncomfortable.
like always remember, okay, I, you can say not right now. Like you don't have to fuck right
Yeah.
now.
But why not?
Uh, well,
Sorry.
right now it's because we're on kick. But
Oh, okay,
like,
okay.
like you can always wait to build up trust with someone. If you aren't completely sure, I feel like being like, hey, like I like you. However, I'm not super comfortable like raw dogging right now.
And it is also okay to build that relationship. If you want to just have, like, to know that you can be intimate with somebody with just even holding hands and knowing that you're able to be comfortable enough to even get to that point, it's okay. Please take it at your own speed. Like,
Yes.
build that trust.
Don't feel
That's
pressured.
key. Do not get pressured. If you feel pressured, you need to walk away from the
Yeah,
situation, that person, depending on what's going on. Know yourself.
honestly. Um, yeah, my girlfriend just reminded me um of something. Anyways,
Dun
um
dun dun dun. She's probably going, it's after midnight. Hey,
no,
midnight
not
at
that. We
Girltalk.
are actually recording at midnight and I do appreciate that. Um finally, you know. All right.
Yeah.
I know all of you in chat have been chomping at the bit. Okay, y'all have been ready. Okay, or y'all are I don't know.
we
Y'all are horny for this Q&A section.
What questions
Um
y'all have? Or we can kind of answer some of the things that are already in the chat there too.
we had one that was, what would you define sketchy? Um, what would y'all define as sketchy?
So
Like, really?
like sketchy wise, like when if I'm meeting a new person for the first time, like if if I'm meeting in say a bad neighborhood, that's sketchy to me. If I haven't had um, a sufficient conversation with this person, like most of the people before I'll meet you, I'm gonna text you for at least a week or two before I'm even open to the idea of meeting up. Um,
Send pictures of each other to each other. Like, clothes on, just a little quick snap saying, "Hey, this is who I am." That way you don't get catfished. Like that's a big deal. That's sketchy to
Well,
me.
that sending pictures, you're still
Yeah.
gonna get
Oh
catfish,
my
but
god.
But you
Yeah,
know,
I
it's less likely.
there was there's one guy in my city who who does catfish as like pretending to be a woman, and then the woman is like, I have this sugar daddy if you're interested. And it's the phone number, the phone number is the same phone number that's attached to the Snapchat that he sends. So if you look at the or wait, no, the phone number that he sends um and is pretending to be the girl is attached to the same Snapchat that he sends whenever he's talking about the sugar daddy. And I ran into him on, I think, the same dating app multiple times as different women. Um, that is sketchy. Okay, yeah, I just make sure you know. I never met up with this person. Um, but just make sure you know who you're talking to.
And I like I said it a little bit ago. Sketchy to me would be something um, would be doing something that would be frowned upon by others or your partners. Um, that would be sketchy within the relationship. But yeah, even if like that's what we said, if you meet somebody in a public place, if they look sketchy, you have the ability to walk away. If they get to be a little too pushy, you can go to someone and say, "Hey, I need help," or slide a little note over to your bartender or the barista or something
Yeah,
saying,
go order an
"Hey."
angel shot.
angel shot, yep.
And yeah,
Yeah,
angel shot is a
we have
big
almost
deal.
had to do that before.
Ooh, that's scary.
Yeah. So know what you always have a way out. That way you're prepared. You don't always have to use it. I get it, but yes, please be prepared. It's a different world these days. So, but we did have another one that was, do you carry pepper spray to protect yourself?
I have not. I ought to.
Yeah, same.
We
I
all ought to.
I do sometimes, like if I'm going out to certain places, or I'll carry my big knife, but for the
I did
most
at one
part
point
I
carry my
don't.
pistol.
That's understandable.
The state that we're in, we can do that. Just putting that out there. That's a clarification.
It's all legal.
It's illegal. um, I personally have had
Oh, but if you're going to
a
clubs, you
boot
can't
knife when I
bring
was
in
younger.
pepper spray or knives or anything like that, obviously. So
Yeah,
just be careful at clubs in general, honestly. Um,
See, that's
I
the club
enjoy
life I
me a
don't know much
good
about.
club, but be careful always. Try not to go alone
clubs.
also.
Yeah, clubs go with friends, and then also know the word angel shot. Like
Yeah,
seriously, that is a big
honestly.
deal.
Yeah,
Um,
it's
and
yeah, it's
like
wild.
befriend the bouncers when you walk in. Like I've had to do that one time. Like when you're going in, you tell them they look good or I hope you're having a great day. Befriend them a little bit. So
Mhm.
just in case something were to happen, they'll go, "Oh, I recognize that girl. Something's up. She doesn't look right or she's waving at me and something just doesn't seem correct." Do those things. It does help.
Yep.
So,
That is everything that we have time for this time. So please
yes.
join us on Kick next time at, kick.com/midnight underscore girl talk. Um, we'll go live at some point. Um, you
Send us
can
all your
email
suggestions.
us. Please email us. No one has ever emailed us. And we're at midnightgirltalk@gmail.com. Please, I personally respond to every email with a handwritten letter. I mail it to your house. I find your address. Don't worry. You don't need to send it. And it'll appear. Please, please email us all of your questions, comments, and concerns. This has been me, Puppy Girl, signing off from Midnight Girl Talk. Have a lovely night.
Bye,
Good night,
guys.
everybody.
Mwah.